would you like to get your brand and an advert for it gently teased into the earphones of 100,000 highly engaged listeners, both within this show and promoting our partnership across Acast's other hit podcasts? Well, you can. We will even get creative and make the ad for you. Contact us through producerpool.co.uk and we will tell you all about the available sponsorship offers.
Today on Fantasy 5, it's Spain versus Austria. For our Euro specials, the Noise Next Door will create European-themed five-a-side football teams against a stand-up comedy guest who will be representing their actual country. Both sides will be using characters from fiction, history and real life, as long as they hail from the appropriate nation. We'll also see what happens when these teams battle it out on the pitch. National pride is on the line. I'm Sam. And this is Matt. We are today's pundits.
Hi, Sam. Yeah, we'll be providing some criticism and insight as ever into the managers' lineups, and later we will be in charge of the commentary for the main match highlights.
Today, our managers are Ignacio Lopez and Thomas Livingstone. First up, Ignacio, welcome. Are we excited about your Spanish team?
I'm pumped. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this opportunity my entire life. I feel like this is my moment to shine and show my terrible historical knowledge about Spain. That is what I'm looking forward to sharing.
Historically, there's been a lot of good Spanish managers. Are you worried about the legacy that you're trying to uphold?
To be honest, no. I think I've done this as most Spanish people do, which is confidently and with the hopes it will lead to sex. That is my mantra in life. I've done next to zero preparation. I kept putting it off, having siestas and stuff, proper stereotypical Spanish stuff. Finally arrived and I was like, you know what? The team's there in my head. I knew who I was going to choose and I've got them ready.
We do like to ask people as well, like, how Spanish are you? Are you 100%?
Well, no, I'm a proper mix. I could have done this for Spain or Wales. The two places I've lived the longest of my life, Spain and Wales. My mum is Welsh, my father's Spanish. It's even more complicated than that. I could technically have slipped in as Ireland or Morocco as well. But I thought I'm going to go for Spain, which is currently, I think, the underdog. I think Wales has got a better squad at the moment than Spain. So I'm happy to represent España.
Fantastic. Well, it's wonderful to have you. And you will be going up against Tom. How Austrian are you, Tom?
I am not Austrian, but my sister-in-law is. So that's the technicality I'm getting in on. My sister-in-law is Austrian. That means I am legitimately managing Austria today. I've had a lot of fun researching Austria. They've done some stuff of Austria. We'll get into it later.
So normally this is where we put our spoiler warning when we do it, the teams based on themes. However, if you think that you're going to get spoilers out of the history of Spain or Austria, you haven't read a book since maybe about the age of 11. So there's not going to be too many spoilers. But you can also, please, do head over to iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and follow and review Fantasy 5 with 5 stars if you like it. And also, if you don't, that'd be nice. Now, without further ado, let's hear those Fantasy 5s. So, we're coming over to the home team today. It's Spain. Ignacio, talk us through your team.
Okay, first up, I think the goalkeeper is such an important role, especially when you've got an attacking team like Austria. So I've decided in goal to put the famous comic book character, Super Lopez.
Okay.
I'm not making him up.
It sounds made up.
Well, weird, the frustrating. I grew up, my name is Lopez. It's a very popular name in Spain. I think that's partly down to my father having illegitimate children. I'm not 100%. There's a lot of Lopez's in Spain. But Super Lopez was actually around before me. It's a comic book character. He's got some similarities to like an American ripoff of Super Lopez called like Super Bloke or something. I'm not quite sure of that one. But essentially, he's a superpower. He's got super strength. He's got laser vision. He can fly. I think the flight is going to be super helpful in goal. There's no baller going to get past him anyway. So Super Lopez, I'm putting him in goal.
Talk us through this guy. So he can fly. He's got super strength. I mean, that's pretty helpful for a goalkeeper.
I mean, to be honest, not just in goal. He could have really played in any position. And quite frankly, I don't really feel like I need another 4 players. But just because I don't want this to be the shortest podcast in history, I thought I should add some additional players as well. He's got it covered. Super Lopez is amazing. He can be quite slapstick, though. He is a comic character. There's some unfortunate hijinks he gets up to, and sometimes the villain beats him and stuff. So this could be one of those occasions. We're not going to see until the match, but hopefully he's got his game face on, and Super Lopez can deliver in the goals between the sticks.
Does he have any kind of weakness, any kind of kryptonite?
He loses his temper a lot. That's his main weakness.
Okay.
He's got a bit of a temper, and that makes him difficult to work with. I think, he has, you need to be a team player as well. It's a team sport. And I think if he loses his temper and fails to communicate with his defenders and stuff, then there's a good chance maybe some balls are going to get past him. And sometimes he sees red, he turns red, his mustache flies off his face, and he just, loses his cool. And that could result in some negative results.
Yeah, I'm just looking up
I need that mustache.
Yeah, I'm looking up a picture of him now. He's got a massive nose.
Huge nose.
Massive.
It's for sniffing out villains. I think that's that's the primary. Basically, if he doesn't, if the ball, sometimes the goalkeeper's stretching there further. Say, for instance, this goes down into penalties. All right, I think he's capable of stopping the ball with his nose. All right, you could stretch out, and because sometimes the keeper goes the wrong way, and he has to save it with his leg. He could just turn and block the ball with his nose if necessary. So Super Lopez can definitely give that a shot.
That's really good. Or lose his temper and let his flying off moustache hit the
exactly.
ball. You can only do that once though. That's just one shot.
Yeah, man. That's the real Hail Mary. That's the last case scenario.
That is actually how I lost my hair. I got so furious that all of the hair on my head just flew off. And I now just maintain a pretty high level of rage all the time, and that's why I never came back. All right, well, Super Lopez in goal. I mean, he sounds good. I kind of want to read this comic. He looks really fun.
It's great, man. I've got them all right? I used to tell kids in school when he came over to the UK, I was like, oh, this is actually based on my dad, because he looks the spitting image of my dad. My dad looks a bit like me, but with a bigger nose. So it's kind of, it's perfect.
Oh, it's perfect.
But yeah, I'll lend you some. They are in Spanish, so you're going to have to just read between the lines, I think, or translate, Google Translate, or, I could record you the lines. We'll act out. We got a new podcast coming, guys. We're going to be me reading out Super Lopez and translating it for you.
All right, so we've got Super Lopez in goal, and then what formation have we got? Have we got a defender next?
I'm going to put one in the. This was really, I wanted a defender who's really going to hold the line and be quite intimidating. I think it's important. Somebody, who's going to intimidate the other team and isn't going to let anyone get past him. Somebody who runs down the last man all of the time. I am choosing Javier Bardem. All right, but specifically for his role in No Country for Old Men, because nobody's getting away from this guy. All right, that is who I want in my defense. Absolutely, he's a huge guy. He's a man mountain as well. All right, he's a super tall guy. All right, nobody's getting that header on him. If there's any corners coming in, anything like that, if they do, they're getting a face full of Javier Bardem's forehead. I think that's what's going to happen.
I often thought, it's not like I've ever stood next to the man, but I thought he does look like quite a large man, and yes, he does look like he has a really weirdly large head. I don't know if it's because is he married to Penelope Cruz? Yeah. And when you stand them next to each other, he looks even bigger.
She's minute. She's like fairy sized. If they do a Spanish version of like Tinkerbell or something, she's ideal for it. They don't even have to do any CG. She's actually that size.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. And in if anyone hasn't seen it, so in No Country for Old Men, he is like a sort of just a killer that's just constantly. Like you say, always following, always after you. You can't even have a rest. You can't even have a little snooze in a motel. He will find you.
And he chooses like a weird variety of weapons as well. He uses like an air, like what is it? I don't know what it's called. Like
it's a gas. It's a little like an air pressure thing that I think they use to put down cattle.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to let him. I don't know if they're going to let him down the tunnel with that onto the pitch, but. If he manages to sneak it in his oversized shirt, his oversized Spain kit, then he's going to be somebody to be reckoned with. You don't want to get on his bad side.
Totally. Well, actually, I think even in the film, people like cops stop him and go, "What is that?" And they because they don't know what it is. Maybe he can get through with it. He could just say, "Oh, it's my asthma inhaler. It's just really big."
Do we know who's referee for this game? Like, who's going to be able to tell Javier Bardem not to bring it onto the pitch? Like, I don't think there's anyone capable of doing that.
You're just going to listen to him as well, aren't you? Like, even your teammates. He just says something. He's got such a great voice. You're just going to be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is he in with a shout as being captain?
I think so. I think he'd make a good captain. Yeah, definitely. I think, well, especially you need somebody like him with the rest of the squad I've picked because they are a real bag of maniacs. So you need somebody that's going to keep them in check, somebody who can manage them a bit. So. Yeah, so
amazing. But his team talks.
Yeah, his team talks are going to be amazing.
Sort of like a Spanish Morgan Freeman, just like, oh my gosh, let it pour in my ears.
Yeah, man. Well, that's why. Yeah, he's a great performer, but also super intimidating. So those team talks are going to be something to behold. I hope we can get a mic down to the pitch as well. Somebody could sneak a recorder over. So he's in defense. Then I've opted for a. There's two players. Yeah. Then I've opted for two people in midfield. Okay, I think we're going to go for kind of like a diamond formation, as much as you can make a diamond with a five-a-side team. Two in midfield. I wanted some super creative midfielders as well. So I've gone for Miguel Cervantes, obviously the author of Don Quixote, the inventor of the modern novel. Because I think that you want that creativity in midfield. He created a genre and. Like the modern novel as we know it now. So if people like reading, they're welcome because Spain did that.
I guess he did that.
So, you want somebody there that's going to be, creatively leading the team and putting out players, and I didn't want to put him in defense in case he accidentally kind of like attacked a windmill or something. So I wanted to put him somewhere he could be creative and we could really enjoy what he had to do on the pitch. And alongside him as well, on the left wing, I've got Juan Pujol Garcia, who was a double spy after the Spanish Civil War. He was a double spy for the UK and the Nazis. All right. So he has got every base covered. And I thought if Austria, has roped in some historical figures from Austria who maybe favor the right wing, we've got the catalyst to take that on the left, which is Juan Pujol Garcia, who's capable of running rings around these people anyway. He was eventually the sole person in charge of spies in the UK for the Nazis, and he made them all up. The Nazis were paying him. Yeah, he was actually, so I talk about it on my comedy album. I don't know if I'm allowed to plug that this early in the podcast, but I talk about it in my comedy album. He wrote letters to the UK and to Germany during the Second World War whilst sitting in a public library in Lisbon in Portugal. But he was telling the Nazis that he was in the UK and he was just inventing a bunch of spies and they believed him. And eventually Hitler was contact him specifically, like, we need you to recruit more spies. And they put him in sole charge of recruiting spies. And they were all fictional. So I've got a super creative midfield there, folks. All right. Yeah. He is going to absolutely run riot around this pitch. People won't know where he is. He'll probably have fake players like mannequins set up with his shirt on it. People aren't going to be able to mark him. They don't know where he is. They think, is he in the stadium? Is he in a public library in Lisbon? We've got no idea. Where is he? How are they going to keep track of him? And then that's
amazing. That's good. That's good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Managing the other team here, that's making me very nervous.
It's a real mix. I like these two in the middle of the park next to each other. They're very different style of players, and I really like that. What I've read about this guy before, because he had two really distinct different looks. He had like that a real bearded look and then a completely clean shaven look.
Yeah,
which I really like the idea of. Like half time he comes back and you think it's a different player. It's not. He's just fully shaved, and you're like, oh no, how am I going to mark this guy? He's got different skills. It's the same guy. Genius.
If he gets sent off by the referee in the first half, he can just shave and come back on the pitch, and the referee will know no different. He's can get away with sneaking around and getting back on the pitch. Yeah, I think he's a good asset to have in the team. I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. good old Juan Pujol Garcia. And up front, I wanted some super creativity. It was between two players, so I will have frustrated some people. And a lot of people, when they think of surrealism, they think, it's something that originated in France because these guys worked in France a lot. So it was between Louis Buñuel and Salvador Dali. And the only reason I've opted for Salvador Dali is because I think he'll be a bit quicker on the ball, or he's a bit slipperier than Louis Buñuel would be. So I've gone for up front Salvador Dali. All right. So that is my,
amazing.
Yeah. And who's going to be able to mark this guy? It's just impossible. You don't know where he's coming from. You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know he might start playing for the other side at some point. All right. We've got no idea what Salvador Dali is going to do. If any point in time as well, towards the end of the match, Spain really need a goal, to win it or something like that, like the referee's stopwatch, is going to melt. All right. Yeah. So you got some real kind of skills coming into this that people won't see coming. So that's why I was excited to put him up front for my team.
It's good. You have him up front. I mean, arguably, you could also have him further back because he really gels his little moustache out quite far, and that could really block and sort of clothesline a lot of players.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
He's an all-rounder, maybe.
He's got that curl to it as well, so I've definitely got him on the free kicks with the curl for the mustache. I think it's going to lend itself to...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If he can curl his mustache, he can curl a ball. That's just football science.
That's the rules.
That's solid logic. Yeah.
Yeah, quite a lot of good, creative Spanish attackers. I mean, like in actual football. And so you've gone for Dali above Picasso. It's an interesting shout. What are the reasons? Do we think that Dali just pips them to the post? So speed on the ball, obviously. Obviously.
Yeah. Well, I think they've got different motivations as well. Like Picasso was at the time, and I think he's still. He was at the time he was the highest paid living artist. I think that as much as I admire Picasso's work, I think he was quite stuck in his ways. I think if we need to change formation at any point later on, he's going to be like, he's stuck in his cubism. That's what he's going to do. Whereas I think Dali really branched out. He was making movies with Buñuel. He made a movie with Walt Disney. You know what I mean? Like they can do anything. So I think that he's a lot more versatile than people give him credit for. He was a funny actor as well. He appeared in stuff. He's a character, and most likely, like any true Spanish person as well. And similarly to Picasso, I guess, he loved women. So he's out there to show off on the pitch. All right. He wants it. He wants the glory. He wants that goal. He wants to be the one to score the winning goal. And I think that motivation is what puts Dali in front.
That's very good. I'm just looking at some Dali facts. So he believes he was a reincarnation of his brother. So maybe if he's into believing into reincarnation, I guess if he goes down in a heavy foul, at least he'll be reincarnated again and come back.
Yeah, man.
So that's pretty handy on a full pitch. Dali is on top of things financially as well. Apparently, he once tricked Yoko Ono into selling. Well, he sold her a blade of grass for $10,000.
What?
So he's not strapped for cash, and also he obviously he can dupe anyone into anything.
Man, there's no favorite genre of prank than tricking rich people into spending money. Stuff they should not have bought. That's amazing.
I mean,
also there's good sponsorship for the team. He designed the Chupa Chups logo. So maybe you could get sponsored by Chupa Chups.
Absolutely, man. It's a great, it's a Barcelona-based confectionery as well. So I'm a big fan of Chupa Chups.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I do like Chupa Chups.
That's good. I like the way you say it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the chupa actually means suck in Spanish. So they're literally called sucks.
That's amazing.
But yeah, it's sucky suck. Yeah, whatever.
Well, I worry that might be the Austrian fans might have a good song for that. I worry that might get under the skin of the Spanish players a little bit. But that's good as well. Instead of halftime oranges, you got halftime lollipops.
Exactly, man. Orange flavored, obviously, but keeping in with tradition.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, even if Spain do lose the match, Dali can just harvest the pitch and make millions by just selling it all to Yoko Ono. Yeah. One blade of grass for 10,000. I mean, that's a whole pitch he's got there.
This team is never going financially under.
No, they're fine.
So that's your kind of starting five. Was there any backups that you were umming and ahhing over? Anyone on the subs bench?
I mean, I was considering Louis Buñuel to put him in there. It was him or Dali, but I think, like I said, for the reasons Dali's in there. But also, I didn't know what route that Austria was going to go, and I thought if they were going to go, obviously Austrian history, most famous Austrian of all time, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, I'm talking about if Adolf Hitler's on that pitch. I was trying to think, how do I counteract that? Unfortunately, I've gone with Juan Pujol Garcia, but I was considering at one point General Franco, because to sort of almost like for like, isn't it? Like fighting fire with fire. So you put one horrific fascist dictator, and you put another horrific fascist. I mean, to be honest, I'd love to watch them duke it out anyway, because whoever at least there's going to be one loser in that scenario, isn't there? But I do think as much as Hitler might have the early stats, with the larger crowds and stuff like that he draws in, I think that Franco, he had a much longer career, and I think he would have lasted better over the 90 minutes than Hitler will. So that's one thing I was considering. But I ended up thinking, no, I'm going to go the route of trying to counteract the right wing by putting in Juan Pujol Garcia instead, who was a bit of a war hero for the Allies, rather than trying to find a Spanish fascist.
I think morally you've made a better decision.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, you've got the high ground.
Yeah, I like the longevity of Franco. So Hitler's more, if we're talking English football terms, Hitler's more like Jack Wilshere. Great early start, just falls off the cliff towards the end of his career.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
Completely bottled it at the end there. Just at the earliest sign of loss, he just shoots himself in the tunnel half-time, doesn't he? He's not gonna be coming out.
That's not what you want. That's not what you want from a player.
No, man.
Whereas Franco is more Paul Scholes. He's there from his teenage years all the way through, playing into his mid to late 30s. I love it.
Oh man, I wonder if Paul Scholes has ever thought about that comparison before. Thought to himself, I'm really the General Franco of Manchester United. No, it's Roy Keane, obviously, isn't it? Come on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Wicked. So this is Team Spain. Let's just have a quick reminder of who we have in your starting fantasy five.
So we've got in goals Super Lopez. All right. In defense, I have Javier Bardem. In midfield, I have Juan Pujol Garcia and Miguel Cervantes. And up front, I've got the talented Salvador Dali.
It's a great team.
Beautiful.
It's a great team. And next up, we will hear who this Spanish side will be facing.
A podcast from producerpaul.co.uk.
We're back, and we are going to listen to what Team Austria has in store. Tom, talk to me.
Okay, I'm starting out in goal. And in goal, you want someone calm and composed. And there's no one more composed than Mozart. He's the most composed. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, between the sticks, he is going to be instrumental in the success of this team. Look, the position was it was hotly contested because there are a lot of big name Austrian composers, Franz Schubert, Joseph Haydn, but let's be honest, Mozart's Mozart, isn't he? Reasons why, I mean, first of all, he's good with his hands. He's a master pianist and violinist. But it's his ability to create as well as defend that I've got him there for. He was an absolute prodigy, obviously. He started playing professional, music, but let's say football at the age of 5 and just kept going from strength to strength. And like all good keepers, he just keeps going, Keepers tend to have quite long careers. I mean, Mozart died when he was 35, but considering he started when he was 5, that's still 30 good years, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
Heck of a career.
Yeah, and in that time, he produced over 600 works in almost every genre of music that existed whilst he was alive.
I love his dubstep stuff.
Yeah. and many of his works are like the absolute pinnacle of the genres that he made. He's quantity and quality. That's why I've got him in the back there.
It's very good. Did he invent music? Because, Ignacio's got someone who invented books. So
yeah.
bit of competition.
He didn't invent music, but he did inspire generations of musicians after him. So I can't claim to have invented the song like Cervantes did, but Mozart's got to be as close to Cervantes in terms of novels to music, I would say. And obviously he's very inspirational. He's changed the face of the game, but he's also very good at working alongside the youth players in the squad, because as we all know, Mozart makes babies smarter. So that's good. Just to make it absolutely clear, I really considered where Mozart should play. He was obviously on the pitch, but then I realised he should be in goal because so many of his pieces are really catchy.
Can I just check as well? Do we know what's the dimensions of a five-a-side goal? What sizes do we know?
Yeah, they are quite small.
That's what I was thinking. So I wanted to know: is a grand piano wider than a five-a-side goal? Because if so, we're not going to score anything, are we? We're never going to get it in past it.
Just set up with full orchestra laid out in front of him.
A five-a-side goal is 12 foot wide. I will come to you soon with how wide a grand piano is.
It can't be 12 foot, is it?
It's probably not going to be 12 foot wide.
I hope not.
I will be pretty wide, though.
Yeah, they are large.
I love how you're fearful that there might be a piano in goal when you've got a superhero.
That is true.
Well, if you put the grand piano sideways, then it's 7 foot long. It's just over 7 foot long, so that covers up.
Then Mozart just stands in the gap, and then.
That's pretty good. And it's a grand piano, so you put up the little lid bit.
Oh man,
I think that's technically what it's called. Then you're covering loads of surface area.
We've got about the shape of a door to score a goal through anyway. That is going to be still there. If anyone can get it in, Dali can get it in that shape and size, though. I think. Yeah.
It's true.
Weirdly, I was picturing the piano being in the middle, which is really stupid.
You definitely
not helpful.
One side.
You're running back and forth.
Yeah, that's dumb. Put it at the side. Good point. All right, so we've got Mozart. It's a good, strong start, isn't it? Composed, catchy. Who have you got in front of him?
In defence, look, I'll be honest. I went to the training ground and I asked the players who wants to play in defence. There was one very clear shout, I'll be back. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is at the back, my towering, powerful defender. I feel like Javier Bardem might be big, but he ain't no Arnold Schwarzenegger, is he?
That is true.
Sure, yeah. I don't think Javier's spent that much time in the gym.
You've got Conan in defence.
Yeah. Conan or the Terminator or whatever the name of that guy that killed the Predator was. If he can take out the Predator, he can take out Salvador Dali.
Weirdly,
that's my logic
called
here.
Dutch, I think, in Predator. Was he?
He was called Dutch, yeah.
But we're going to let him play for Austria because that's what
Well, yeah, Arnie is Austrian. Most of his characters are just generically European. He's the last line of defence.
He's not much of a chameleon of an actor, so he can slip into any role.
No.
That's Austrian sounding.
Yeah. He's not a versatile performer, but he doesn't have to. He's just got the one job. He's my last line of defence. Sorry. He's got one job. He's my last line of defence. He's the last action hero, if you will. And obviously we could talk about his physical attributes, the strength and size and blah, blah, blah. But what I think is really great about Arnie in defence is that every time he stops an attack, he's going to have some awful pun about how he's just done it. You don't have the balls for this, something like that. Seems like you find me quite challenging. Don't stop. They call me the Exorcist because I just ended your possession. Good stuff. I treated that cross like a plate after dinner because I cleared it. Infuriating.
Any more, Tom?
No, those are the 4 I wrote.
That's very good. Yeah, I was thinking from your Mozart fact that you're a man who loves some puns. I was waiting for the Arnie stuff. But.
Somebody give me a brush because I am a sweeper.
Yes.
Hey, it's really good impressions.
Thank you.
That was a good impression.
I'm a little bit worried about depending on when he's playing the game. Are we worried about maternity leave? he did famously in junior give birth to a human, so a human baby.
Look, I support maternity leave for any of my players who may need to take it. I'm not taking Arnie from the sort of like Predator Commando era, you know, when his arms were sort of insane. You know, when it looked like he had a football under the skin in his arm. Like, that's the era Arnie I want.
Look, I think as well, he's going to be good with the youth, isn't he, from his time working in kindergarten and stuff. So he's going to also bring it with the kids in the squad. And if there is an issue with maternity leave, or if he's got to duck out for any reason, like maybe he's, got another kid with a maid or something, if that happens, then you could always have his twin brother, Danny DeVito, step in as well to replace him. So you've got options.
It's a like-for-like replacement if you just put Danny in, yeah.
It's very good. He's quite good at the old surprise attack. He from Predator, I believe he just covers himself in mud and becomes essentially invisible to the Predator. Now, there's a tactic I've been trying for all of this Fantasy 5 thing, which is to always have camouflaged players disguised as grass, and it sounds like maybe Arnie could do it.
The Austrian kit man hates him.
Yeah. Just not happy with what I picked for him.
Are you worried about collateral damage?
Yeah, a little worried about collateral damage. Obviously, that could be a problem.
But I mean, it's a good shout. Strong and powerful at the back. Yeah,
he's big. He's Austrian.
He's big. He's Austrian. It's Arnie.
Exactly. Right. Next up, in midfield, I have a question. Matt.
Yeah.
Who is the most famous French woman?
Marie Antoinette.
She's Austrian, actually. Marie Antoinette is Austrian. So she's my first pick in midfield because mainly most people are going to be so bloody surprised to see her playing for Austria and not France. She was born in Austria. To an Austrian mother. Yeah, you've got a spy, I've got a spy. Okay. Marie Antoinette. She's in the middle of the park. Why? I mean, look, obviously, especially in her later career, the French fans, not into her. I mean, they cut off her head. But before they hated her, she was like the most exciting thing that had happened in France in centuries. There were queues around the block when she was first revealed to France. 30 people were trampled to death just because they wanted to get a closer look at her. That's how exciting she was. So imagine how thrilling her silky football skills are going to be if that's how much people wanted to see her when she was young.
Wow, that is a testament to how exciting she was and how terrible they were at crowd control.
Yeah, that's... I mean, I'll be honest with you, Marie Antoinette is probably a controversial choice because she wasn't good to the fans in general. So she was known for sort of like massively overspending whilst France was going through like terrible debt all over the place. Her nickname was Madame Deficit in France because she just spent so much money. And there were villages all over France where people were starving to death. But meanwhile, she had her own fairy tale village built just so that her and her ladies in waiting could pretend to be like milkmaids and shepherdesses for a few afternoons a year. They spent just thousands and thousands of francs, I guess, whilst people starved just on the other side of a fence, which is obviously barbaric, but you got to appreciate the commitment to a bit. She does whatever she wants and she does it full bore. She's going for it at all costs.
She sounds like the PSG.
Human life.
She like the Paris Saint-Germain of human beings.
Yeah. Yes. She will spend any amount of money for anything she wants. And I like that energy.
Wow.
Also, practically, one of her big skills on the pitch, she was famous for her hairdos, her bouffant hair, which apparently she frequently wore hairdos that rose nearly 4 feet off the top of her head. So not from the top of her head, 4 feet up. So like for a header. You were talking about Javier Bardem. She's got 4 feet on top of her head of extra stuff. And not just hair. She would decorate it with all sorts of stuff, like little trinkets and baubles. And once, apparently, and I learnt this and I had to tell someone, she once wore a full replica battleship sailing in the waves of her hair about 2 feet above her head. Just a battleship.
That is boss.
That's brilliant.
That's amazing. Yeah. Easy to spot if you're in her team on the pitch. Where is she? There she is. Shithead.
Yeah.
That's great about the headers. Obviously way better before she had her head cut off, but that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So for one, the surprise element that she's even playing for me, the heading ability and the cutthroat will do anything to get what she wants. Marie Antoinette. She's my first midfielder.
Pretty unpopular in France, obviously. But how do we know how she was viewed in Austria? Like early doors, pretty good, but what happened after? They were just because Austria and France were enemies, right? So were Austria they were at war. Inside.
Yeah, and that's why France hated her, because they were so convinced that she was favourable towards Austria the entire time, even when she was Queen of France. So I'm playing Spain today, but when we inevitably beat them, if I come up against France in the semis, then I just think it's going to be a nightmare for the French. They're going to hate it, and I love that.
Fans are not going to be happy, are they? It's like when like when Ashley Cole went from Arsenal to Chelsea. That kind of the fury.
Yeah, exactly. So she ruined the French, but the Austrians were fine with her. There she is, first midfield pick. Any comments? Any questions?
Well, I just want to know, how big was the French and Austrian Empire? Because I think the Spanish one went a bit farther. I think that it covered a bit more ground, and yeah.
Just wait until you get to English game, mate. Oh, that was an empire.
It was, but I think Spain ended up with the nicest places. Don't you think?
Yeah, you really did. The Spanish really got the holiday destinations once all was said and done.
Exactly. And also, I do feel like, post-colonialism, I think that, even though it's still going on in a lot of places, I think Spain are on a lot better terms with their exes, whereas I don't think England... England, not so much, my friend.
No.
Well, I think specifically with Marie Antoinette, though, she was the daughter of the Holy Roman Emperor, though, right? So
yes, she was. Yeah,
I can't remember who her mum was.
An Austrian queen.
Habsburg
I can't remember her name.
Maybe.
Habsburg,
so that's blending two empires into one already.
Fair play.
Yeah, so she's got pedigree. Both her parents played.
All right, and so that's midfield. Have you got someone next to her in midfield? Are you playing the diamond as well?
Yeah, I have. Next to Marie, I've got Maria von Trapp. Maria von Trapp is my dynamo in the middle of the park. Maria, the lead character in The Sound of Music, but obviously based on the real-life teacher who became the stepmother of the Trapp family singers. Look, what's to say about Maria von Trapp? Why her? She causes serious issues for opposition defenders. How do you solve a problem like Maria? With great difficulty. That's how. Obviously, a very assured player. She has confidence. Accurate long passes, beautiful crosses, incisive through balls. These are a few of her favourite things. She is a monster. Great stamina as well. She can go far. A long, long way to run. Maria von Trapp. Right? I could continue using song from the films, but the real Maria was the ultimate team player, right? So she was a real person who was training to be a nun and then was looking after the group of children, the Von Trapps. And she married Captain Von Trapp, their father, the widow. And I think in the film it's all quite lovely, but in real life, she loved the kids so much that she agreed to marry Captain Von Trapp despite, and this is a direct quote from her, I really and truly was not in love with him. But, she did it for the team. So what I'm saying is she's willing to sacrifice her own personal freedoms and her lifelong desire to become a nun. She gave it all up to look after that team of kids. It's another player that's going to be very good with my up-and-coming youth squad. I've got my players so far all really nurturing the youth talent coming through. We'll see how they come. We'll see how they come up. So an absolute team player, gives it her all. Austrian Julie Andrews. What's not to like?
That's amazing. Well, it really is a testament to how Julie Andrews really didn't do much of an Austrian accent, did she?
Yeah,
I would like to have seen that, though.
She didn't put a lot of effort into the accent.
Although she got
I haven't seen the film in a while, but I'm like, it's about a bunch of English people in Austria. No.
She became very Americanized, though, didn't she? When she fled to the States eventually.
Yeah. So basically, when this family started singing, Maria sang with them, and they were having some financial problems over there because Austria went through massive financial crisis, but they got offered basically a recording contract in the States, and they all moved to the States, and I think her family are still out there now. Her kids are still kicking about.
So a footballer who also manages to turn into a music career, that time that Manchester United sung Red Tribe. You can move to the Red Tribe, dude. There's no man that can get in our way. Get it? Yeah. I don't know anything about football, but I remember that song.
Like a lot of high quality players, she'll finish her career in America for the money. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Sweet.
But what you're saying is she gave up on being a nun. So
Yeah.
doesn't really commit, does she?
Ooh, it's huge.
Look,
Huge.
what she committed to was the team, and that's the element I'm trying to focus on. Granted, she gave up on God himself or herself, but
She still was given. She was. In fact, we've mentioned him before on the Euros specials. My ancestor, Pope Pius XII, gave her like a whole bunch of awards. She was still super religious. She was still getting rewards from the Pope into the 50s. So she never left Jesus' side. She just it was always there in her heart.
She just wanted to get her underway. I get it. Yeah. She had kids.
Typical footballer, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, there are so many. I had fun with Austria. There were a lot of people that I wanted to include. I've got a backup striker on the bench, Owen Schrödinger, because he is theoretically in the box and dead at all times. Replacement midfielder Sigmund Freud. He can really get into the opponent's heads. Gustav Klimt. He was better when they had golden goals. I bring my own camera crew because August Muska invented slow motion. Bit of fun. Conchita Wurst, she's doing my halftime entertainment, so fans don't get bored. And and Christian Doppler is the head of my fan club. He runs around the stadium starting Mexican waves whilst moving, so there is an apparent upward shift in the frequency in the waves for observers towards whom he is approaching. That's basically how the Doppler effect works. It might not have been worth the explanation, but basically what's happening here is I'm stalling because I still haven't picked my final player. Up front, it's Hitler, isn't it? It's Hitler. There we go. Done. That's the team. Done.
And that's it. No comment.
I don't want to talk about it. Look,
Final pick.
I don't want to sit here and explain why Hitler would be good at football, but you can all figure it out. Do the work in your head.
Yeah. I feel like he might attack when the referee is explicitly telling him not to. No, you cannot invade this penalty area. We've told you you're not allowed. Well, I don't care.
He doesn't take being beaten very well.
As we've discussed.
No. I mean, I was sitting here, I was umming and ahhing, and I just thought, you know what, I'll include him in the team and people can figure it out for themselves. But you've got to. In terms of Austria, if you don't mention it, it's weird. So he's up front, obviously. That's it. No more. All right, then. Look, let's remind you of the team.
Yeah, fine.
So it was a toss-up between Hitler and Fritzl for up front. Is that what you're trying to say?
Let's remind ourselves of whose team. Who is in your starting five, Tom?
In goal, it's Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. In defence, Arnold Schwarzenegger. In the midfield, it's Marie Antoinette and Maria von Trapp. And up front, it's Hitler. Shush, don't tell anyone.
Is Hitler playing a false number 9?
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
It's good, isn't it? I guess you could have technically said that about every player on your team, though.
Yeah.
But not with that much passion.
Well, there we have it. That is Team Austria. We've got both of the teams. So now it is time to discuss how the managers feel going into the game. Ignacio, we're going to come to you first. Now that you've heard the Austrian side, how do you feel about your chances?
As always, I'm supremely confident. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter who was mentioned in the Austrian squad. I think I was tactical about it. I did more prep than I assumed I was going to. I guessed that Hitler was going to be in there, and I think I've neutralized that threat. Okay, better than a bullet to his head. I think Juan Pujol Garcia is going to do the business there. And up front, I mean, even though Arnold Schwarzenegger is an intense opponent, and he's made of metal, covered with he's a machine. Covered with human skin, I do think that Salvador Dali is going to be able to slip a couple past him anyway, because Salvador Dali is good with working with different materials and melting them down. and just making them all.
But yeah.
I think he's gonna do the business. So I'm pretty confident. And look, we got Super Lopez in goal. All right, who's getting a goal past Super Lopez? All right, you can, and I can't believe you just wheeled up like a 5'4" Austrian dictator. You said you expect him to score a goal against Super Lopez. Not happening, man. I'm very, very confident, and I'll be ready to eat my words, but more than likely I'll be on to just drinking some good wine, some sangria, and enjoying the event for what it is.
Fantastic. Look, what other podcast can pit Salvador Dali against Arnold Schwarzenegger, guys? This is why we deserve 5 stars across the board. Tom, how do you feel having heard the Spanish team?
Honestly, I was impressed with the Spanish team. I got hit with some surprises I wasn't ready for. It's my fault. I'd never heard of Super Lopez. That's all. I've suffered because of that. I didn't know I was going to be going up against the original Superman. And the answer to Hitler is an impressive one. But I think the match is going to be a tight one. There's a lot of creativity on both sides. There's a bit of aggression. There's going to be a lot of passion on the pitch. I'm excited to see what happens. I think Ignacio's done an annoyingly good job.
He's done a great job. I mean, nothing against your dulcet tones, Tom, but I think all the listeners really enjoy just Ignacio speaking. It just sounds so good. My ears, thank you.
Guys, there's only one thing left to do. It's time for kickoff. Welcome to the Spanish National Stadium, Gaudi's masterpiece, Sagrada Familia.
Oh, I thought these stained glass windows looked familiar.
Many thought Gaudi would make the starting lineup himself, because he's such a good architect in midfield.
But we all know he can't finish. The Austrian team just warming up now? Literally, because Spain is warmer than Austria. The fans are happy to see Maria von Trapp starting.
The stands are alive with the sounds of chanting.
Salvador Dali is twisting and turning through the Austrian lineup. Impossible skills. I mean, literally impossible. The ball is actually in liquid state right now.
Here comes Arnie to try and stop him. Surprising pace on the muscular defender.
He's really running, man.
Ooh, and a big strong tackle there from Schwarzenegger.
That's how you terminate a run. Hitler with the ball early doors.
We all know he plays best with only one ball.
He's invading the area, which he does so well. He shoots.
But it's well wide of the mark, and he's immediately subbed off.
Yes, his contribution is best remembered as a reminder of how not to play the game.
Schrödinger replaces him.
Javier Bardem briefly makes a run for the ball, but trips over his Oscar statue.
This really is no country for gold men.
Von Trapp on the ball in the middle of the park.
She does love wide open spaces.
The sun is shining. We all know she has confidence in sunshine.
The defence look confused, out of focus and bemused.
She's unpredictable as the weather.
She's as flighty as a feather.
She's a darling.
She's a demon as she lofts the ball high into Marie Antoinette.
Antoinette heads in with her 4-foot wig.
Oh, but where's the ball?
There will be a short stoppage in play as it's dug out from the copious amounts of horsehair. Dali coming in for a tackle. Or, wait, is it a defensive move? Perhaps it's a throw-in.
I think it's open for interpretation, really.
Well, it's very striking, whatever it is.
Striking is right. It's heading for the top corner of the Austrian goal.
Oh, Mozart reacts a little too adagio, and it's a goal.
It's 1-0 Spain. Arnold is certainly a striking presence in defence here.
That's impressive, considering his first name is that of a dweeby model train enthusiast.
Ooh, Marie Antoinette gains possession and is making her way into the path of Javier Bardem.
How is she going to get past that sex tapas of a man?
Wait, what's this? Bardem is running for cover, but it's not because of Antoinette. He's afraid that the sky will fall.
Just needs an umbrella, doesn't he?
Half-time now, and Von Trapp is asking Christian Doppler how to keep a wave upon the sand, while Conchita Wurst powers out her banger Rise Like a Phoenix. Back underway as Miguel de Cervantes receives the ball in the middle of the park, and it's a creative 1-2 with Juan Puyol Garcia.
No, that's not Garcia at all. It's a cardboard cutout. The real Garcia is off convincing the subbed Hitler to pay for him for information on the next match, which he doesn't have.
Whether Garcia is real or not, it's back to Cervantes. A novel little step over. He's really booking it down the wing, and the cross is certainly something to write home about.
Dali with the head. Of roses. He's got roses for a head, people.
This time, Mozart stops the ball with a toot of his magic flute.
Arnie is running down the wing like he is running for political office.
Seems he's running to the concession stand and has noticed that all of the Chupa Chups are past their expiration date.
He is asking for a total recall. Marie Antoinette looking for Schrödinger in the box. He's definitely there, or is he?
Is he dead?
Yes and no.
The indecision sees Antoinette robbed by Juan Puyol Garcia, who said he wasn't going to tackle, but then did.
Looks like he's going to pass to De Cervantes, but disguises a ball to Dali instead. Oh, but he skies it wide.
The crowd are getting frustrated with Dali, but rather than screaming wanker, they're chanting the great masturbator.
Mozart with the ball in hand.
You have to love his classical style as he strings some passes together with his quartet of players, but it's very telling how dominant the Spanish team have been.
Yeah, Super Lopez has had nothing to do all match. He's currently on the Spanish bench chatting to his most trusted allies, Captain Hispania.
Well, that's a lot like...
Tin Guy.
Tin Guy? Seriously?
And El Hombre Araña.
No, I don't speak Spanish, so...
It's just straight up Spider-Man. It's not even him, that one.
Okay, how are they getting away with this?
Oh, well, we've been chatting. Spain have scored again.
Oh, Cervantes has bagged Spain a second goal 10 years after his first.
Cervantes celebrates by riding around the stadium on a very attractive donkey.
That donkey, Hottie, certainly seems integral to his success.
There's the final whistle, and it's 2-0 to Spain.
What a game. Let's get the reactions from both managers. A Spanish victory. Ignacio, how are you feeling?
I'm on top of the world, man. I never even considered Austria to be, one of our biggest rivals, but what a game. You know what? I never thought, I've never seen so much passion. All right, so much passion and racism out on the pitch. All right, I never thought I would see this. It's the first game I've ever seen where it's almost both stands were cleared out by the stewards for shouting inappropriate stuff. But that was that was a great game. I think we took the victory. I think the tactics paid off, and I think that we had a game plan and we stuck to it. Similar to Tiki Taka has done so well for Spanish football for a long time. I think the flair has shown through in this squad as well. We got a good squad of youngsters with like Miguel Cervantes from the 1500s. And I think so that combined with our superhuman goalkeeper has really paid off. So I'm pleased about this.
It's definitely one of the strongest tactical performances that we've had so far on Fantasy 5. And Tom, your Austrians got taken down by it.
Yeah, I shouldn't have picked Hitler, should I? That's what it was.
It was a strange one to back. Didn't work out.
I think if you picked him, and I thought, oh well, at least as an excuse, you could just be like, I just don't know any other Austrian people. But you listed off about 6 before you picked him.
Yeah, shouldn't have picked Hitler. Now you know how Germany feels, mate. Well, that's it. What a wonderful episode of Fantasy 5. Do let us know what you thought of today's teams. All the result, in fact, on our social media. We are at Noise Next Door on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and we would love to hear from you. A huge thank you to our incredible producer, Paul. Producer Paul. He's called Producer Paul, and he's a producer. Call Paul. It's Producer Paul. As always, he makes us sound great. And a huge thank you as well to Ignacio and his victorious ways. Is there anywhere that the listeners can see you, can hear you?
Yeah, man. ComedyLopez.com for all tour information. And if you follow me on social media, it's always Comedy Lopez as well, because nobody can spell or remember Ignacio, and Super Lopez was taken. So it's Comedy Lopez. And I've got a comedy album out, which is on iTunes and Spotify and Deezer, which is a platform apparently. It's on a bunch of stuff like that, Amazon Music. And currently, I'm planning to go on tour in the late summer, early autumn of this year. Who knows if that will happen? Fingers crossed, guys. You know, I'm really praying for that one. But yeah, Comedy Lopez for everything.
Well, let's hope it does happen, and please do go and see him on tour. You can also follow us, Fantasy 5, on your preferred podcast provider. And as we said before, please do give us 5-star reviews.
Make sure you join us next time for Turkey versus France's best people.
We shall see you then. It's time for us to hit the showers.
Jeez, would anyone like a suck?
Oh, you mean a chopper chop?
No, I do not.